Hello and welcome back everybody. It's Complicated Relationships Reddit Stories. Hope you guys are safe and healthy. Now let's see what the story is about today. In today's story, OP says, I'm 36 and my wife is 33. We have 4 young children, all under 11. 15 years together, 13 married. Wife's secret relationship came out a month ago. It's time we listen to the story. Also, if you like what I do, please give this video a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel.
We have always thought that we felt we had a lot of love, filled our gaps well, we were very happy to be around, and took care of each other. I think this is a fair assessment of our marriage until 3 years ago. We both had large trust issues develop within 6 months, and it's ultimately my fault she ended up getting pregnant with our 4th child. She wanted to be done at 3, and I still held out hope for another 1 or even 2. So I told her I wouldn't support a permanent contraceptive when she brought up the idea, and me not being careful, we ended up pregnant with baby number 4. She was not happy, to say the least. About 6 months before the baby came, my wife said that there is a rumor going around saying that she is cheating on me. Allegedly, she had heard it from a mutual friend and wanted to warn me of it before I heard it separately.
OP did not believe her when she told him that there was no validness to this rumor. She claimed to have only interacted with this man alone once, it was fully innocent by her account, and she had no idea where any basis for this rumor came from.
After lots of talking, I decided to take her word on it with such weak evidence, and so much at stake in our marriage with the kids and a mostly day-to-day happy life. So there's the basis of our marriage falling apart and getting worse in the past 3 years. She resented me for getting pregnant the 4th time and me not being able to let this rumor go and worsening my trust issues.
Now, here is the update.
Found out my wife was talking and texting another man all day every day while at work for 3 months. It was the same man she was rumored to have had a relationship with 3 years prior. I confronted her the day I discovered it. She admitted to only what I knew, claimed she was having an EA because we were having serious divorce discussions and going through a rocky period in our marriage. Her story after I confronted her was she admitted to an EA where she let a friendship get out of hand and progressed to basically being in a relationship where they talked all day every day and were essentially in the early stages of dating without being together. Classic EA, I thought. Also, she said she broke it off about 3 weeks before I discovered it. Phone records showed a huge drop in contacts. So I took that as a positive for her and her story as well. She looked me in the eyes and swore to me many times over and over that the lines were never crossed. She never once met him in person. She did. She never once sent him pictures of herself. She did. Their conversations were not overly dirty. They were. She never once told him she loved him. She did.
After months of feeling hopeless, there was no getting back past the emotional affair. OP started to give himself a glimmer of hope for the future together from what he saw in her behavior.
It all lined up with being remorseful and willing to do the work needed to keep me if I would have her. She offered her phone for data recovery, any monitoring software I wanted to install, any restrictions I wanted to put on her to feel more secure with her, answered my questions, open to discussing her relationship, willing to do a polygraph whenever I wanted to, start individual counseling, called and explained any delay from her normal routine. I really felt she was putting in the work, and I let my guard down for a week and gave her affection and care like I used to, and she reciprocated tenfold, and it was beautiful and felt great. Though at the same time, it made me very sad as I realized how little love she had given me for years.
As a part of OP's decision to try and get past it, he decided to contact AP's wife to get confirmation on his wife's story.
She found out about 2 months after I confronted her that he wasn't divorced at all. He's just a predatory serial cheater who specifically targets married women because they are better at keeping their game secret. So I spent a day conversing with the AP's wife and got more truth from her in an hour than I got from my wife in years. It really was pathetic how far over all the lines she swore repeatedly she never crossed, she actually was. I told my wife I had spent all day talking with the AP's wife, and I knew everything, at least as much as the AP's wife knew, but did not let on exactly how much. She called and texted, but I did not respond, aside that she needed to tell me everything once and for all. She agreed that she would.
When OP got home, she was already packing up boxes, maybe expecting he'd put her out for what she was about to admit to.
So, here's the whole story, best I can piece it together between her confession, my investigating, and the AP's wife's info. My wife has been in and out of a relationship with this same man for 10 months out of the last 3.5 years, technically 4 times since late 2017. Each time this guy would start snooping around, professing to finally be single and available, and each time my wife would eat it up and start her, in my opinion, monkey branching. 3 of the 4 times only ending it when the AP's wife would catch them on her end and threaten to tell me about it, would she then break it off for a year or so at a time, until the next time he showed up on her radar divorced and available, saying, "It's for real this time, baby." Ha! Her biggest reason for wanting out of the marriage and hating me was her getting pregnant with our 4th child, and I do accept my fault in it. Unfortunately for that story, though, I was able to nail her down to admitting her first time with this man started 2 months before she ever got pregnant. So, the biggest crutch for hating me and our marriage being awful went right out the window. In my opinion, that whenever she thought he was available and they were talking, suddenly our relationship was garbage, and whenever they would get caught and have to break it off, suddenly I wasn't such a bad guy after all.
The wife, of course, denies this as her reality. OP can't see it any other way through, as she never tried to break it off with him or push for divorce outside of their active relationship periods. The quick breakdown is as follows.
First time, strictly texting, flirting, and a few mild pictures. Broken up by AP's wife after 2 months. Second time, 1 year later, full EA with constant phone calls, texting, and pics, and been physical 2 times without actual SX. Broken up by AP's wife after 3 months. Third time, 1.5 years later, full EA and physical with constant phone calls, texting, pics, multiple meetups, while her mom or I watched our 4 kids and she was in town for errands. Full on in love, planning their future together. She spent more time conversing with him than she did with me for 3 months until things between them turned sour after multiple red flags started showing, and she realized maybe the fairy tale wasn't true again. I caught her, and she said she had broken it off on her own 3 weeks prior. Phone records show a 90% drop in texts and calls after the date she said she ended it, so I guess it seems plausible if it really mattered at that point. Fourth time, 1 month after I caught her, she started back up with him again with daily texting, calls again, but no meetups. She said she figured she might as well try to make that relationship work, since she threw her whole life away for it, and I wasn't going to stay with her. This went on again for 2 months until the AP's wife caught them again on her side. I had no idea she had started back up with him, and she was continuing to play nice with me, professing her regret and wishing it had gone differently.
AP's wife confronted her, and AP ghosted OP's wife, refused to answer for any of the 1,000 lies he told her. She broke down and cried on her mom's floor, realizing that he had played her yet again, and there would be no white picket fence together in their future.
He used her for texting, ego boosting, and a few physical acts when he could persuade her, and basically playing his game while he was working. He was all good with helping my wife blow up our family, just so he could get a little side action from her. It's all so disgusting. I honestly do feel pity and sadness for my wife. She allowed herself to get played by a player. She told me some of the things he would say, and they were straight up cringe from a movie or something, but she wanted to believe, so she did. She threw away her marriage and the family we built together to be a con artist side piece for a few months. It's pathetic and sad. She made all the horrible, selfish choices that put her in that position, so she has full ownership of the consequences in my mind. I told her she got what she deserved from him, and she agreed. So, that was 4 months ago. I guess she's out of the affair fog now because her boyfriend is off the table again. She keeps telling me she's just going to work on the marriage, keeping me until I tell her to stop. We're still living together, but not in a relationship. I often tell her I won't be able to get past this. There's just too much.
She followed the cheaters playlist to a T in OP's opinion, and she never committed to him while the amazing boyfriend was available.
I'm not under any illusions that a relationship can really come back from this. It's about as messed up as it can get. She always seems sad and surprised when I remind her marriages don't really come back from multiple affairs over many years, like it hadn't crossed her mind in that way or something. Our day-to-day is fine. We really were a solid couple for a lot of our 15 years. We make each other laugh and happy and hardly fight, and that's the super sad part. We could have and should have been really good. I think the best I'm hoping for is an amicable divorce and cooperative co-parenting, and that's a big bummer, but I think it's the reality. I've talked with a lawyer and am going again to clear up a few more questions I had pop up. Divorce isn't going to be great financially or schedule-wise, and I'm going to miss who I thought my wife was for the last 15 years, but reality can't be ignored forever. It's a scary proposition, but I'm confident I'll make it through and make everything work for my kids. That's all that will matter for the next few years while I get everything stabilized.
End of the story. As the account has been deleted, we cannot expect any more updates on the story. As for these affairs, there is usually more that has happened than you truly know or can trust. The fact she brought this rumor to you nearly proves it she was doing damage control. Honestly, considering how well you both are getting on, I'd highly suggest you all seek couples counseling. Even if you all can't reconcile, it would be great to learn to be good co-parents. It will be great for both of you to learn to communicate effectively and recognize the poor patterns that got you to this spot in the first place and avoid them in the future. Still, there is a 1 in a million chance you can settle into staying. It's your choice in what you really want here. You have all the right to walk away from the marriage. You have already set a lot in motion by telling the children. So they will be continued to be focused by events. Not saying this is the reason to leave, but definitely consider some counseling for them as well. Good luck, Kopi. Thank you all for listening. Please like, comment and share the video if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.